The cold waters and ice floes of the Bering Sea between Russia and Alaska are the home of one of the world's most curious marine mammals, the walrus. It's an unusual-looking creature, but one which is extremely well adapted for life in the harsh environment in which it lives. Its skin, which is up to 4 centimeters thick, and its dense layer of blubber insulate it against the sub-zero temperatures of the Bering Sea. Although the water is so cold, it's able to support large numbers of marine mammals like walruses because it's extremely rich in marine organisms. In winter, walruses divide their time between riding the drifting pack ice and swimming in the Bering Sea's icy waters. But every year, at the approach of spring, they undertake remarkable journeys. The walrus's diet consists almost exclusively of clams, worms, and other small, bottom-dwelling marine animals. The ivory tusks, which may be over a meter long in males, may be used to anchor and stabilize the animals while they feed on the ocean floor. In order to feed, walruses dive to the ocean bed and then sift through the mud using the sensitive bristles on their lips to find the clams, which are their main food. Then they suck the animals out of their shells using their lips and tongue. The walrus's tusks are really elongated canine teeth. They're an effective defense weapon, and they're also used during social encounters between individuals. The tusks continue growing through the animal's life. The heaviest individuals with the largest tusks tend to be the most successful. Walruses can inflict serious wounds with their tusks. During the breeding season, they fight for the right to mate, but males will first try to settle disputes with a show of strength. The tusks have other uses. This female is using them to gain a purchase on the ice as she hauls her weight of over 600 kilograms onto the floe. This is how the walrus got its scientific name, Odobenus, meaning tooth walker. When they're resting in water, walruses sometimes use their tusks to anchor themselves to the ice. Walruses live in both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. During winter and early spring, the much larger Pacific population is concentrated at the southerly edge of the pack ice in the Bering Sea. The herds contain animals of mixed ages and sexes, but groups of cows and their young form the nucleus of the walrus's social organization at this time of year. Midwinter is the walrus's mating time. The herd of cows are attended by mature rival bulls, which indulge in curious courtship rituals in the water. The bull's calling and displaying advertises their presence to the cows. It also reinforces their own dominance hierarchy. Around April, the ice begins to break up and drift slowly northward, and the walrus herds start to move with it. Their destination is the Chukchi Sea. It lies to the north of the Bering Strait, which once formed a land bridge between the continents of Asia and North America. On migration, walruses may swim non-stop for 2 or 3 days at a time before resting on ice floes. The northward drifting currents continue to carry them in the right direction. The pregnant females which conceived the previous year haul out on isolated floes to bear their young. The peak of the birth season is in May. Walruses are very attentive mothers. This one is gently encouraging her calf into the water. It takes the calf some time to master swimming. Its mother stays close at hand. Sometimes the calves hitch a ride on their mother's backs. The bond between cows and their calves is very strong. A calf suckles until it's a year old and will remain with its mother until the age of 2. It needs this time to learn the specialized feeding method which is unique to its species. The calves grow stronger as they join the movement northwards. By June, the herds cross the Arctic Circle as they pass through the Bering Strait. The summer pack ice is a favorite hunting ground for the Arctic's most powerful predator, the polar bear. Killer whales and polar bears are the walrus's main natural enemies. Polar bears prey chiefly on seals. Adult walruses with their long tusks, immense size and thick skin are a formidable prey for bears to tackle, but they occasionally catch younger animals. When a bear is hunting walrus calves, it must first make the adults so uneasy that they abandon the ice floes. The bear is having some success, and the herds are becoming increasingly nervous. Young calves can get injured or crushed during the stampede into the water. If this happens, the bear will then pick them off. The calves in this group have managed to stay close to their mothers. But on another floe, the bear has managed to snatch an unguarded calf. The remains of the carcass may weigh several hundred kilograms, but a polar bear can drag it across the ice with ease. The herds which arrive in the Chukchi Sea to the north are composed of females and their young. Herds of bulls also visit these waters, but thousands of others, which also spent the winter in the Bering Sea, have been heading in a quite different direction. In spring, large numbers of walrus bulls that didn't travel north head for the Walrus Islands in Bristol Bay off the southwest coast of Alaska. By May, they're beginning to congregate on Round Island and Cape Pierce. They're the only remaining major haulouts left off the Alaskan coast. Throughout the summer, thousands of walruses pack the beaches on Round Island but every single one is a male. For the bull walruses, the haul-out beaches provide an essential retreat. They've come here to rest and molt and to recover from wounds inflicted during courtship battles over females earlier in the year. At the peak of the congregation, 10,000 bachelor bulls have been known to gather on the island's beaches. Packed together, they constantly squabble for the limited space available. The largest bulls with the biggest tusks usually obtain the best resting places. Smaller males stand little chance of finding any space. The larger bulls simply won't give them any room. But even large bulls have to use their tusks to help them win a place in the throng. Sometimes perseverance pays off. This young male has managed to push through the ranks nearest the water. Finally, after scrambling over the bodies of his companions, he succeeds. When a bull decides to return to the sea, he meets less opposition. The place he's vacated will soon be filled by others. Many bulls which visit Round Island bear evidence of fighting. Broken tusks and lacerations to the skin are commonplace. But walruses are very thick-skinned. The hide on the necks and forequarters of adult bulls is also covered by knobbly projections. They're associated with full sexual maturity, but also serve as added protection against jabs from their rivals' sharp tusks. The tusks may be used to stir up the bottom sediments, but it's the sensitive whiskers on the upper lip which fulfill the most important function in locating shellfish buried in the mud. The bulls which haul out on Round Island may have to travel long distances to find food. When they arrive back at the beaches, they're almost white. In order to combat long hours in the icy cold water, a walrus is able to constrict its blood supply to serve only vital organs. But when they leave the water, their hides soon become suffused with colour as their blood vessels dilate and blood is pumped to their skin again. Not all the bulls that come to Round Island haul out on the densely crowded beaches. Some of them use rocky ledges instead. For a mature male walrus weighing over 1,200 kilos, the rocks are more difficult to climb onto. So the ledges are used chiefly by subordinate bulls, which can't infiltrate the main gatherings on the beaches. New arrivals often have to fight to gain a place. If they can't find anywhere to haul out, the bulls stay in the water, but they can relax here too. Walruses possess large pouches or pharyngeal sacs along their necks. Their main function is as a resonating chamber to project their voices, but they can also inflate them to increase their buoyancy. This allows them to float comfortably in the water so they can rest and even doze without coming ashore. In the water, walrus bulls often spend considerable time rolling and cavorting with each other. Once again, they make strange sounds. No one knows quite what purpose the noises have, but it's thought they may be used to repel other males. After even a short time in the cold water, the skins of the swimming bulls begin to blanch as they regulate their blood supplies to the much lower temperatures. The herds on the shore are faced with a different problem of heat control. At midday, summer temperatures on the Round Island beaches sometimes soar above 27 degrees centigrade. In these conditions, walruses need to lose heat, not conserve it. Fanning themselves with their flippers cools the blood flowing through them, as well as creating a cooling breeze. Walruses aren't the only marine mammals which visit Round Island shores. A colony of Steller sea lions is established here too. The sea lions have located their rookery on rocks which walruses previously used to haul out on. This bull is only looking for somewhere to rest, but the smaller sea lions are nervous of him nevertheless. In early summer, the steep cliffs above the hauled-out beaches are used by nesting colonies of seabirds. Kittiwakes only visit the land to breed. They rear their young in nests built on tiny projections on the almost vertical cliffs. Mewers are members of the auk family. They don't build nests, but their eggs are pear-shaped to stop them rolling off the crowded nesting ledges. A pair of bald eagles breed on the island too. Essentially fish-eaters, they can be a major predator of the birds. They also scavenge some of the inevitable losses in the large seabird colonies. Red foxes will take eggs and nestlings too. Further down the cliffs, puffins nest in burrows they excavate themselves. They're not alarmed by their enormous neighbours, the walruses, resting close by. Round Island is a state game sanctuary, and its wildlife is fully protected. But walruses are nervous creatures and prone to panic. During the summer months, when thousands of walruses visit its beaches, Round Island is particularly important because it represents one of the few traditional haul-out areas which the bull herds have not already deserted as a result of long-term disturbances. Not all the bulls summer on the few remaining haul-outs in the Bering Sea. Some travel north, together with the majority of cows and calves. They journey to the CH5 Sea, which lies above the Arctic Circle. From July until September, walruses rest and feed here before they're forced to move south again by the reforming of the polar ice pack. In summer, the CH5 Sea is visited by both American and Russian ships. This icebreaker carried biologists from both nations observing walrus behavior. It was part of a combined research program aimed at increasing knowledge of a species which inhabits the polar seas shared by the two countries. It's hoped that continuation of this type of cooperative research will ultimately result in an international treaty aimed at giving walruses effective protection. At present, very little is known about their habitat needs, while any decline in their populations is difficult to assess. But it is known that walruses need to consume vast quantities of clams and other marine life to sustain themselves. Current efforts to exploit Alaska's vast offshore petroleum deposits may significantly alter the balance of the marine environment on which they depend. After serious depletion, the population of walruses in the Atlantic Ocean has never recovered. Without protection for their feeding grounds and haul-out areas like Round Island, the Pacific walrus could also be reduced to a remnant of its present numbers. Only if the cold Arctic seas in which it lives are very carefully managed will the tooth-walking walrus continue to survive.
Well, what a whopper in tomorrow night's Wildlife. The grey whales of the west coast of America are profiled at 7:30.